Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar sponsored by ASF and Club OS. If you have any questions during the chat today, please send those in the Q&A section, and we should have time at the end to answer them. Sarah, you have the floor.
Awesome. Taylor, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sarah Pellegrino, host of the Value Proposition by the Fitness Business Podcast, and I am so honored to be your host for today's panel, 365 Days with Jarrod Saracco, The Secrets that Make His Gym So Successful. Joining us today, we have Jarrod Saracco, COO of World Gym. Hey, Jared.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Nick Hahn, the head of product for ASF and Club OS. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks so much for being here. And we have two special additional guests, Baby Yodas.
Oh, he has a name. His name is Grogu.
No, Sarah.
Did I just skip the way
Nick copies me. I just want that for the record since this is being recorded.
There's
my
no
Grogu has been there as my personal advisor for several weeks now. Nick's just happened to appear this morning because of this. So
there's no evidence of that, Jarrod. I'm sorry.
Oh, man, come on.
Awesome. Well, a huge thank you to Club Solutions for hosting and ASF and Club OS for sponsoring today's conversation. I'm so thrilled to be having this discussion with both of you. Nick, you and I have spoken multiple times. We had you on the February 2021 episode of The Value Prop and the July anniversary show. And every time I chat with you, I learn so much. So thanks for being here. Cannot wait for the conversation around Jarrod, tech strategy, and his new position. And Jarrod, my good friend, it's always a pleasure. You and I worked together for years when I was on the software side and you were in your consulting role. So I know that you were just going to share so much insightful information with our audience today.
Well, thanks for having me. Just humbled and honored to be here. Appreciate the opportunity, as always.
Awesome. So Jarrod, we're going to jump right in. Give our listeners some background on what you did prior to World Gym that prepared you for the position that you hold today.
Okay, that could take an hour, but I'll try and keep it short, concise. I guess my career started when I was about 16, almost 17 years old. I started out as a personal trainer or fitness floor attendant, personal trainer, and then just slowly grew in all phases of health club management operations. I was in management by the time I was 19. I did a lot of things on the medical exercise side as well. Fast forward a little bit, I got into consulting about 2005 after owning my own two small gyms for a while, and had my own health club consulting firm for the last 16 years or so prior to this, which is how I got to be here at World Gym. So I've had the opportunity to be on the operations side in a lot of different facets: personal training, sales, general manager, owner. Got to work on the vendor side as well, as I consulted with a lot of vendors on helping them position themselves for better opportunities within the marketplace, and then got to travel the world helping club owners reach maximum profit and helping personal trainers learn the difference between being a trainer and a fitness professional. So it's been a wild ride for these last 26, 27 years, something like that. You can do the math and figure out that I'm only 34. Yeah, it's been great.
Awesome. Now, Jarrod, what aspect of health club consulting most prepared you for your role with World Gym?
I don't know if there's any one aspect more than another, other than this is a very people-oriented business, and everything that we do needs to be centered around the people that we entrust to take care of our members. And that's our staff. And then also those members and people in our community that we serve. And I really look at our industry really not as the fitness industry per se, but more as the hospitality industry. And fitness is our part of that, that we deliver to the community, because we're in a people business, we're in a service business. And I think learning the ins and outs of how to build teams, how to get the most out of your teammates and your employees, and then really understanding your marketplace and what the people need versus what you personally may want has been a real benefit to the role that I'm in today. Because sometimes people build gyms or put together programs or things based on what they like to do, not necessarily what's going to help them make money or in the long run help out that particular demographic or community in which they serve. So learning and understanding more about people and their thought process and, how to build a winning team is probably one of the biggest things that I've taken from my experience. And then also how to utilize, partners to the benefit and the right partners to the benefit of the business that I'm serving. So a little bit of a roundabout answer, but hope that's what you're looking for.
Great points. We're going to dive into partnerships later in today's conversation too. So
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
Jarrod, what was your overall goal when accepting COO at World Gym?
That kind of came out of the blue too. You got to think about the timing of this whole thing. It was June of last year that I took the position, was honored to accept the position. And it was a little bit of a hard decision to make, considering I had my own company for a long time. But having the opportunity to help build one brand, an international brand, a brand that's been around for 45 years, it's a legacy brand, was really exciting and appealing to me. But at the forefront of why my focus was really about the club owners. It was really about the franchisees. A lot of times you look at the people at the top of the organization and they're really concerned about the corporate bottom line. And I was fortunate enough to be in a position where, when I took the position, we said, look, if we're going to do anything from a corporate level, we got to make sure we take care of the people below us and our franchise network, because without them, we're really nothing. And so my main focus was on, how do I help these franchisees, one, navigate this incredibly challenging time, COVID, shutdowns, lockdowns, transitions, reopens, re-shutdowns, regulations, all that kind of stuff. But two, for the long term, how do we make them profitable? How do we make them make money in this industry? And everything that we do, every decision that we make starts right there with them. And, it's been a learning process for all of us, but really that's my focus, taking care of the people that take care of you.
I love it. That's wonderful. Now you've accepted this amazing position. You have this opportunity to lead the franchisees and the team at World Gym. Mm-hmm. How did you approach the first 90 days? Were you following a plan? What did that look like for you?
Well, plans went out the window because, again, it's June.
Yep.
Clubs are closing. There's a few states that are trying to reopen. Now you got to think about this. If you're in a state, right now, it's still crazy here in the United States. Every state has its own regulations. Then within that state, different counties and towns and cities have their own regulations. Now take that and multiply it by 17 countries. Okay. It's nuts. Now, fortunately, I have a couple of really good operators in Taiwan and Australia that they're really on top of there. So that took a lot of pressure off in some of those markets. But the rest of those markets, there's a free for all. So trying to stay up to date on what's going on in those different, providing guidance, regulations, employee guidance. How do we handle this situation, that situation? We create a lot of, codes of cooperation, and there's a lot of stuff. So that first 90 days was really about survival. But at the same time, it was really about evaluating where our network had been, where it needs to go, and how we can help them both in the short term and in the long term in the future. That required us looking at systems and processes, evaluating technology, marketing, and also, most importantly, making sure that I could put together a team that could help me do this, because I don't care how good you are at something. If you're running an organization of this size or larger, you need a good team around you. And so that was one of my top priorities. And I feel like that was one of my major accomplishments within the first 90 to 120 days, was really putting together a world-class team that could help both our corporate office and our network of people around the world. So I would say that was probably the big focus, evaluation, short-term and long-term goal establishment, and putting together a good team.
Can't do it alone, can you?
Nope. Nope, not at all.
Perfect. Now, Jarrod, you've mentioned tech strategy, right? In the list of things that you needed to evaluate when you arrived at World Gym in order to help make your franchisees more successful.
Yep.
So as we're in that first 90-day mark, as you're beginning to evaluate the technology that was available to World Gym franchisees at the time of your arrival, what was your approach and what were your priorities in this evaluation?
Well, it's funny that the whole tech strategy thing seems to be the hot buzzwords right now. I had the privilege of being on with Brian O'Rourke just a week ago, or in talking about the same thing. Whenever you go into an organization, you want to figure out how this thing goes, right? What is the engine that makes this thing go? And from your frontline staff all the way back to our corporate office, we're all working with technology in some form or another. It could be the club management systems. It could be a CRM. It could be a social media strategy. It could be, what we use from an accounting perspective. I mean, there's so many different things involved, your website, your apps. I mean, you look at it like that. And in the middle of all of this, I realized that, to be honest, I mean, we had a lot of different things going on from a tech standpoint. There were a lot of different operating club management systems. There are people using CRMs, people not using CRMs. Even though we provided it, some of our network just didn't understand it. We're fortunate enough to have people in our network of franchisees that have been franchisees for 30 plus years. Now, some of those individuals are used to doing things, we would call it old school, right? I'm probably in that age gap that's a little bit between that younger generation of a lot of technology and that older generation that sometimes pen and paper makes it a lot easier. So, but helping everybody find a balance, what was going to work for us, what was being used, what wasn't, how can we more efficiently use the technology we have, or how do we go and change that? What companies and softwares and programs exist that can simplify the process and make it easy? Because at the end of the day, if it's not simple, it's going to be a problem. If any of you have ever watched like Undercover Boss, like one of the biggest problems that there is on Undercover Boss, you see that person go to the front line and all the employees hate every decision that corporate makes. Why? Because they haven't spent time on the front lines. Fortunately, myself and my operations team, we have a lot of frontline experience. And so that's really proven to be a benefit to our network, because we know what those challenges are on a Monday night or on a Saturday morning or whatever it is that you're facing, and how these systems really need to integrate. And we realized that we had to make some changes, and that's just part of doing business. Even though that may have meant getting rid of relationships that have been there for a long time because they weren't necessarily what was best for the network. So that's kind of where that tech strategy is. And to me, I think you're always evaluating that to make sure that it's working, because technology changes so fast nowadays. You have to be on top of it and make sure you've got partners that understand your needs, goals, and are willing to work with you to make changes when you need to.
Jarrod, in a franchise setting, I think this is a debate people probably sit on both sides of, but to you, does making things simple and streamlined, does that mean you want everyone using the same solutions, or are there opportunities to be flexible with what people prefer?
Yeah, so that is the trick, right? So you could talk about being flexible, but there's certain things that you don't want to be flexible with. To me, an operating system and a CRM is not one that you want to be flexible with, because from a culture standpoint, I'm developing marketing strategies, implementation, systems and processes that I want to bring across the network. Now, if everybody's running something different, that makes it a challenge, because I'm going to put it out there based on what I have. The other thing, from a reporting and metrics and KPIs, I want to know the health of my network. I want to know how they're doing, where they're struggling. Is it a cancellation problem? Are they not doing enough on the membership side? Or they're not generating enough ancillary revenue? I want to be able to see that in a snapshot and make it really, really easy. And when everybody's doing something different, that's a problem. Now, obviously, with an international brand, it can be a little tough, right? Because there's systems and softwares that don't necessarily cross a lot of international borders. But from a North American standpoint, that's really, really important, is that if I can get the bulk of my North American, or all of my North American people operating on the same systems, it's going to make my life a lot easier. It's going to make what we do from a corporate standpoint a lot easier to implement. And then from that standpoint on, all the training and support and marketing and everything we do, smooth like butter, as they say. And then that's really important to me. So yes, if I can have consistency in those areas and control that, which we will be doing moving forward, it's going to just strengthen the brand and what we're able to do as an organization.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Sure.
Now, I know from firsthand experience, Jarrod, that partnerships with vendors is a priority for you. So
Yes.
as you started to evaluate current vendor relationships and look for new vendor partners, what did you discover?
Well, it's funny because I use the word partner. A lot of people use, preferred vendor. I do use the word partner because I do feel as though that they have to be part of the process. They have to be invested in your success as well. And I look for companies that have that same culture, that same desire. And so coming into World Gym, they had a preferred vendor network and, had to take a look at the companies and organizations that were part of that. And also for my 20 plus years in the business, I developed a lot of relationships with vendors and partners that I trusted. And so, being able to find the right ones for what we wanted to do moving forward was important. That also meant letting go of ones that had been part of the organization for a while and, didn't seem to be bringing the value that we needed moving forward. And so that search began early on to what I felt would best serve the brand and, again, our franchisees and make life better and make more profitable gyms across the world. So partnership is really the key word there. And I got to be honest with you, that included everything from cleaning supplies to who we use to provide drinks, software. We reevaluated the companies that we already had existing, including our CRM, which Nick will tell you, we had a partnership with Club OS at the time. And we still do, just for the record. But that says something because it went through an evaluation process, as Nick knows. And everything in between, to the treadmills we put on the floor, to the weights we choose, to the rubber and turf we use. Everything was evaluated, and we continue to still evaluate that on a consistent basis. So very important part. Partners are more important than vendors.
I love it.
To me, anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Jarrod, what can other gym owners learn from that experience you had? Like, as you mentioned, it's difficult. You've had relationships for years with different vendors, different suppliers that may not be currently serving you to the best that they should be, right? So, I mean, any advice for someone that is in that quote unquote vendor relationship that just, how do you break up and go through that process?
Yeah, listen, it's not all about price.
It's not.
Okay. And I think that that's the one thing that a lot of people get caught up in. And I like to use this analogy. A lot of gym owners, and there's a lot of debate back and forth, right? Low cost clubs, high cost clubs, mid tier, whatever. But let's say you're a mid or high price gym and somebody comes in and goes, oh, you're too expensive. You're too expensive. And you go and you say, no, we're not. We provide value. We do this, we do that. We're not a $10 gym or this. And you have that fight because you believe that there's some real good value in what you bring and you're so much better. And yet when we go work with a vendor partner, we beat them up over price. And we're like, and they go back and tell us the same story. No, but we provide this, we have good value. And we go, no, just give me the best price. I hate that. I can't stand it. Sometimes you got to pay a little bit more to get a better product, a better experience, a better long-term partnership. And don't always just gravitate to who has the cheapest price. It's not always going to be the benefit for you. Now, sometimes you can find partners that are willing to work with you and renegotiate or come up with, great agreements or contracts or things of that sort. But if you're only looking at price, you're missing the big picture. And so don't ever rule somebody out because of that upfront cost, whereas the long-term value of the relationship or the partnership is going to do you justice. That's how I approach it. And, it's not about price all the time. It's about what it does in the long term for the relationship on all sides.
Music to my ears. That is such a great piece of advice.
Not a lot of people's ears, but hopefully some anyway. But yeah, I get upset about that. It's not cheap enough. You listen, if I came into your gym and told you that your gym was too expensive, I'm not your customer, right? And you would tell me all these things. And then we turn around and do it to all our partners. I can't stand that. And so I get a little worked up over that. So I'll stop talking about
All
that.
right. All right. Shows passion.
Yeah, that's it. Passion, one step short of crazy. And that's it.
Such great insight, Jarrod. Thank you.
Yep.
Nick, I want to give you the floor, my friend. If someone is not familiar with ASF and Club OS, can you briefly summarize the solutions that an owner will gain by partnering with your team?
Yeah, absolutely. So ASF is a member management platform that we have everything from the billing all the way through being able to schedule appointments, schedule sessions, schedule personal training. It really is meant for both big box gyms and boutique fitness solutions also, and everything in between as those two worlds slowly converge into one more unified offering. Club OS, as Jarrod has mentioned, provides CRM, marketing, and sales functionality so that from a corporate perspective, for example, you can't have marketing that is flowing down through all the local franchises that you might have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Nick, what has it been like for you? You have the onesie twosies, right? The smaller ownership groups, and then you're working with Jarrod and his team at World Gym, right? How do you begin or continue to foster a partnership at such a large scale?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I think it's really begins with, and it's been said a couple times already today, but it starts with trust, right? In the same way that Jarrod has to be able to trust his team, he needs to be able to trust his partners. We need to be able to trust him. And it starts with us being able to, every interaction with Jarrod or his team is all about continuously earning their trust. Whether we are collaborating on future functionality, whether we are talking about long-term strategic goals to make sure that we are both rowing in the same direction strategically, that's what it all comes down to, is making sure that there's that trust at the end of the day. And I think that's with any important relationship that we go through, whether it's two companies or people, right? Is making sure that trust is fundamentally there. The reality is sometimes companies aren't meant to work together, and I think that's okay when that happens, and that's something that we should be encouraging, but we want to make sure that we build that trust with our partners.
And you definitely earned it, right, Jarrod? You said,
yeah, well, I was going to say, I know Nick is like, well, what keeps him going? It's alcohol. No, but at the same time, no, communication, right? Communication, fundamental part of all successful relationships, whether it's business, personal, whatever it is. And when we looked at Club OS, we realized that, our team initially really wasn't doing a good job of understanding what was there and how to implement it across the front line. So it started with us making sure that we understood what it was capable of doing. Then talking with Nick and his team and going, look, some of these things don't work for us. We don't have strong adoption. To be honest with you, we sucked at implementing some of the things that we had in place. And Nick and his team at Club OS were really great at communicating with us and setting up a time for us to talk and walk through what we wanted, providing data and insights. We definitely strung them out with a lot of things, but what I love and appreciate so much, and here's your pitch, what was their willingness to communicate with us and say, hey, let's sit down, take a proactive approach to this, and figure out how we can best make the system work for you, for World Gym, and your franchisees. And you don't get that a lot. And I appreciated that. And then at the same time, to be honest with you, that opened the door to other conversations, listening actually to your podcast, Sarah. I mean, look, I know you weren't expecting me to say it, but it's true. I listened to your podcast and I thought, I haven't looked at ASF in a lot of years. I know they're owned by the same parent company. And I said, after hearing that interview with Nick and Mitch and everybody, I think it was Missy too. I don't remember who the third party was on that call, but I said, you know what? Let's investigate, because we were looking at technology stacks and we were looking at vendor partners, and let's give them an opportunity as well as we evaluate this. And we found the same thing with the ASF side. And now that we're moving forward as a brand with ASF and Club OS, we're really excited about that level of partnership, communication, and trust that we have built over the last few months with Nick and his team. So it means a lot, and it works both ways. So for any gym owners out there, you got to understand, you got to earn it too, just like Nick said. They got to be able to trust that you're providing the right information, that you'll get things to them on time, that you'll show up when you're supposed to, unlike me this morning for our 11 o'clock meeting. Yeah, it's been impressive, and I can't say enough about the experience so far. So
yeah, and it's interesting, Jarrod. A lot of the challenges that you and your team had experienced as a franchisee network are very common that we find throughout a lot of the other franchise networks that we work with. It's a lot easier as a corporate-owned entity to enforce software standards upon your staff. It's a lot harder within a franchise group, which is something that we've found over the last 3 years, especially, is how to get the network to adopt the software is the majority of the challenge. And that's where simplifying their lives and making their lives better is how you can attack that to make sure you're successful.
Yep. And I know we're probably derailing Sarah from her line of thought, but with this conversation, but that was one of the number one things, simplifying that front line, systems and processes to make it easier for the desk staff, to make it easier for the coordinators, easier for the managers and owners to get the reports that they need, to provide it to us and our business coaches to then take that data and information and then provide the proper assistance and strategies to help them grow their business as we move forward. All of that plays into it. And so there's a lot of challenges, but good partnerships and good systems and processes to make it work are going to make that a lot easier over the next few years.
Absolutely. And Jarrod, thank you so much for sharing that. It's just really important for me that you all found each other and that everything's going so smoothly. So thank you so much. All right. You both are going to laugh at my next question. Jarrod, you and I have been through countless conversions together on the software and billing side. Yes. So it's not easy to do, right? It's not like a fun time, but there are companies and partners that support club owners and chains through this process very, very well. And so, Nick, I want, if you can just touch on the conversion process from the ASF side and the Club OS side, how do you all make this process as easy as possible for your partners?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. We're extremely hands-on with our customers. Well, I guess we'll say we're as hands-on as we want us to be. So we can do everything from being fully on site during the training, like we were last week, to doing all the training remotely. We pride ourselves in that flexibility and taking away as much as possible from off the load of the staff. Always remember is that while you're doing this conversion, you're still running a gym. You still are operating. So that's where, just to bring one location on board, we will easily have anywhere between 6, 7, 8 members on our side involved to make sure that we're taking all the work as possible away from the local team. That way they can be focusing on what they need to do. And then on the day of go live, we'll absolutely be there to help support it, make it feel, so that you have that person to, hey, I missed this in training. What exactly was it? That way there's no disruption to your members. They don't even know it's happening. It's just a seamless change.
That's perfect. And one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, to any software system is the analytics and business insights that you gain. So can you walk us through some of the highlights from ASF's reporting features? And Jarrod, after he answers that, feel free to, list a few of your favorites as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing, it's all about providing visibility to the operators. What we built our analytics engine based off of was not just helping the local teams, but also being able to roll that data up so that the corporate levels could compare all the locations, even comparing employees against each other also. It's very hard at scale to find the weak spots in an organization. What trends are occurring that the team's not necessarily able to identify just through hearsay and through conversations with people on the ground. The data is the truth of what's really happening at the gym. So being able to roll that up across a large network has really been the focus. So the first couple of dashboards around all the revenue streams and tracking where the money's coming and where it's going to, the changes to memberships, the tracking of where leads are coming from and what is making leads convert at the highest success rate. Some of the easy stuff that we've been rolling out so far, we have over 7 data domains so far in our analytics engine that come out of the box. They are there working. They are not opinionated. They allow you to look at them and kind of discover the data as our customers need to do that.
Yeah, and I got it to say, our whole world is going into data and analytics. It's not just sports teams, right? It's everything that everything. And in the gym business is no different. The problem is a lot of people get caught up in it and don't understand what all of it is. There's a lot of people, like I said, that, previous years that this stuff is all new to them, and it can be really intimidating. So can you have a simple dashboard that talks about your key, performance indicators, your KPIs that are most important to you, and what are those? And in a snapshot, have an idea of the health of your business. That's really important. Then if you want to dive into different things or different levels of it, having the ability to do that. But that simple dashboard is really important to owners and managers. And even if you're in an organization like us, which is one of the things that we looked at with Nick and his team, was, okay, we got to stop all this craziness and all this information that nobody knows and understands, and figure out, what do we want to look at? What do we want them to look at? And then how do we take that information and put it to use in the gyms? And so I think that anybody who's doing any type of tech, strategy or evaluation needs to step back and go, okay, what's most important on a daily, weekly, monthly level? And what do I want my dashboard and software system to tell me? And can I get there in 1 or 2 clicks? Right? It's the same thing on a website. I want to be able to get to that form in 2 clicks or whatever it is. I want to be able to get my numbers really, really fast, and the key numbers. And that is really important. And that's something that we've, been able to look at. And again, having the strength of a team like I have, and working with Nick's team, we've been able to put together a customized, dashboard for World Gym. And we're really happy with what we're doing with them and what we're going to see moving forward.
So Jarrod, with all of that data,
Yep,
your fingertips, with the beautiful dashboard and how easy it is to take in that data, how are you approaching your goals at World Gym going forward? Can you share with us how you're benchmarking your changes that you're making, the impact that you're having, and how you're measuring this over time?
Well, first step is, making sure that as an organization, we're all aligned from the top down. We have our, what we call State of the Union coming up for our franchisees, and kind of letting them know what our plans are for the next 12 to 24 months. And that's really exciting. But, from our side, we're just still continuing to build out the strategy and the process moving forward, and really trying to figure out how to make it as simple as possible for our franchisees. Then for us, it's about gaining their trust and following through on the implementation across the network. So our focus right now is helping people understand the why behind what we're doing, and then how it's going to benefit them moving forward, and then what we're going to do to integrate it and make it work for them in the future. And so these next couple of months, as we roll out some of these new, programs, software, analytics, CRM, customized CRM, marketing messaging, it's a real exciting time at World Gym, because we've got a lot going on, and, we're one of the brands playing offense in the world that's been playing defense. And we're excited about what's coming up in the next, 12 to 24 months. And, again, having great partners that are willing to customize things for us was really important. So the future is bright for World Gym. I don't know about Nick. He's going to see a lot of me, and his team are going to probably have nightmares about it, but it's all good.
We already have.
Yeah, I know.
I'm excited.
That's what I said. I owe him some drinks in a couple weeks. But yeah, the future looks good, and it's exciting, because simple, effective, and something that's going to now be across the board as an organization is really going to make us a dominant player in the market.
Streamlined.
Yep.
Systems. I love it. Awesome. So we have, we're 30 minutes in. We've covered software, we've covered billing, covered CRM systems. Jarrod, I would love to pivot just a little bit to some other technologies that you're using at World Gym. Because when we say tech strategy, you nailed that at the beginning, right? It's very broad. There's a lot that rolls up to that. So can you speak to what mobile app system you're using and how that takes your business to the next level?
Yeah, that was another thing that we had to look at. We were using Fit Metrics, which is a great company and organization. I've had a lot of success with them over the years in a lot of different things. MindBody's a great organization. But with the software system we were running at the time, they were getting a divorce. And so that was going to make part of my technology stack a problem. And so we had to start looking at different options, which just kind of sped up the process of looking at our club management systems, our operating systems, our apps. And we made the choice to go with eGym. And, that was a big decision. We were able to customize the eGym app. Again, my team did a great job of spearheading that process. A lot of hours went into it. A lot of thought went into it. eGym actually came back and said that the way our app looked and functioned and customized was one of the best they had seen use of their platform. So we were really excited about that. But at the same time, it had to function properly. And that's where there's always seems to be a problem, right? Different companies have their own apps, and then they want you to have their own systems. And then it's almost like that, conspiracy theory where we're not going to partner and play nice with other people because we're going to force you to use our stuff. And that didn't sit well with me in a lot of ways because there were functions that I liked about their thing, of certain companies, and there were functions I didn't like. And then how do we get them to play nice together? And I had to find a partner or two partners who were willing to play nice. And that is not always an easy thing to do. But eGym came to the table. We've had some great discussions with them. We had discussions with Nick and his team about moving forward. And now we're able to work on a customized solution again for World Gym using the eGym platform moving forward. So we're really excited about what we've got to take that customized eGym app that we put together and put it to use with the ASF platform and the Club OS system for lead generation. And again, that's part of what we're looking forward to in 2022 is just an awesome experience for both our franchisees and our members.
Jarrod, you've said it a few times now, but that customized solution, right? You look back 5-6 years ago, not a ton of software solutions were able and then willing to be, right, to have those customized solutions. So it's really nice for me to hear, I think for a lot of people on this call to hear that you're running up against companies that are very open to that and really are trying to build a solution for you specifically versus this is the solution, take it or leave it. I think that's right. It's a nice
sorry. Yeah. It was one of my biggest headaches. It's like, we're saying we'll make it fit. And the guy's trying to get the thing in. I mean, that's basically what happens is a software company comes to you and goes, hey, look, we've been doing this for 20 years. This is the way we're going to do it. You just got to make your organization work to fit our software.
Yeah.
I hate that because then I'm outside of who we are or what I want to run. And so finding a company that was willing to, we're giving Nick a lot of love on this thing, but finding a company that was willing to work with, us and figure out this for what our needs were. And then say, look, this is what we do, but this is what we're willing to do to make it work for you. That was really important. And that spoke volumes about the organization we were working with. And then, being able to do that moving forward, what that does is it leads to a great experience, again, for my franchisees and my members. And that's what makes it successful. It makes a key partnership where there's great communication, trust, and the willingness to be flexible on what you do each day. That will make it great. And that's what we're doing right now. And that's why we're starting to see momentum in the World Gym organization.
That's so good to hear. Nick, Jarrod has brought up integration again. We've gone over that word a couple of times now. And I know sometimes in the software world, that's like big, bad word, but it's really important, right? So how do you at ASF, at Club OS, handle those maybe tricky requests that come in for integrations? How do you handle that and put a really, thoughtful process behind that?
Yeah, it's interesting. So as a technologist first who happens to have a passion for fitness, from my perspective, integrations are just part of what's going on, right? It's part of what we have to deal with. Uh, I Each software platform has a number of integrations. No software platform does everything. Even if it's a CRM that sends emails, no CRM sends the emails itself. There's always another platform somewhere that's sending the email. So that right there is an integration. You want to find integrations that are in the best interest of your customers. And as Jarrod kind of mentioned, you never want to be in a situation where you have to get divorced from one of your integrations. That's not a good situation to be in. That's in no one's best interest. It's the kids never like going through that, right? So you want to avoid that at all costs. But it's all about being customer first and identifying what does the customer need out of this integration and keeping their interests in mind, not your own interests in mind, and going at it from that perspective.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Awesome. Well, Jarrod, I'm going to come back to you. I know that you and I have chatted a lot about World Gym Anywhere and the partnership with IntelliVideo. Speak to that, right? I mean, we're in the world of digital fitness. I think it's probably as popular as it has ever been. So what does that partnership do for your business?
Well, again, it's part of a strategy, right? And this last year, everybody had to make a shift and make some decisions. Some groups and organizations decided not to do anything with digital. Some did. We were a little slower to make a decision on moving forward and what we were going to do. We believe we found the right partner with IntelliVideo. We have a great national director of group fitness, Tiffany Hamlin, who really spearheaded the content, the layout, the design, and what we have there, and really making it work. Now it's just a matter of getting people to understand that it really can enhance the value of the membership. There's a lot of ways you can use, your digital offering, and World Gym Anywhere is pretty unique in the content it provides. That we have content from our network of World Gyms across the globe, which is awesome. Third-party content providers and partnerships that we've been able to develop, to a credit to Tiffany. And her relationships, celebrity trainer Gunnar Peterson and the content he provides, which is awesome. And now it's a matter of, again, making sure that we find the right way to get adoption from our franchisees when technology can scare people, and also how to get it out into the community in a way that enhances the brand and then the end user experience. And there's a lot of different methods to do that. I'm not going to share all of our strategies to do that moving forward because we've got a few that we're working on. But you got to sit down with your team and figure out, one, is it for you? Two, does your digital offering represent who you are? And three, how is that end user experience going to, enhance or be enhanced by using that? And maybe it won't. But you got to know that before you get into it. And so there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way for everybody. We've had our fair share, but we've been able to work through it again with a good partner and again, having a great team leader who's able to take a look at it and make it work. So pretty fortunate in that respect, but it's an awesome platform. If anybody wants to check it out, you get a free 7-day trial, anywhere.worldgym.com, or download it in the Google Play or iTunes store. You won't regret it. It's pretty awesome.
That's so cool. And you mentioned Gunnar Peterson. So
yeah.
I'm a fan. I've followed him for years. So can you speak on your social media strategy? How about like advice for club owner out there that just is a little lost with social at the moment? What are some steps that you took to just having a good social media plan in place?
I hired a marketing team. Seriously, but see that, okay, so we were having this conversation the other day internally with just club owners, right? The world has changed so much. You think about, I got to hire a GM, I got to hire a membership coordinator, I got to hire a fitness director, I got to have trainers. Nowadays, you probably need somebody who's in charge of your technology. Who's your tech person on site? Who's going to be responsible for working with ASF and being the expert, and Club OS and being the expert, and eGym app, and World Gym Anywhere or IntelliVideo, or whatever pieces of technology that you have? that also includes, hey, how do you manage your website on a daily basis, and how do you manage your social media? I found that actually you could get some really talented teenagers, right? College, high school level people to do your social media for you, right? You pay them a couple extra bucks, or you give them a $50 a week extra, or whatever it is. And man, they can run that thing better than you ever will. And they'll be excited to do it because it's what they do all day long. They, they're all taking their booty shots and whatever. Now they can do it for you, and they can do it well. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity within your own organization to find some great talent when it comes to social media in particular. But at the same time, you got to have a strategy. Which platforms are you using? How are you using it? Again, I tell everybody, don't use it just to sell. Hey, we got this offer, buy this, do that. Content is king. Make sure you have a content strategy. There's a lot of pieces of software out there that can help you do a calendar and do all that stuff. But I always say hire people that are smarter than you to handle some of those things. And sometimes that smarter person already exists in your organization. You just got to extract the juice from them and get them excited about having that opportunity. So look for ways to create good content and use social media to your advantage.
And the teenagers understand how TikTok works, Jarrod. Which
TikTok, really absolutely. Important. Man, I haven't done a TikTok at all, but my team was making fun of me the other day. We were trying to do a boomerang thing, and I got that wrong. So I don't know. Just,
come on, Jarrod.
Whatever. Yeah. So,
that one you have to understand.
I gotta know. I mean, listen, I know what these things are now. How to actually do some of it. I mean, I know what I wanted to do.
God forbid we would initiate one.
Yeah, I don't have the time to figure it out. That's why I got to hire people smarter than me to do that.
I love it. Oh, that's so good. Nick, knowing, we've had a full conversation about tech strategy, what Jarrod has implemented, knowing how many technology platforms your clients are working with on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis. How do you in your seat work and strive to just simplify this process for everyone involved?
Yeah, we really try to engage with our customers early and often when they're evaluating another partner. And we look at how we can help them get to the point where 1+1 with another partner, right? It doesn't have to be our solution that is driving that for them. So it's about that. Once you have that relationship based on trust, you can have those open conversations about, well, here are the ways that it can the solution for you to make your staff's lives or your lives better, and making sure that we collaborate through the process, because no one party is going to have the best idea or the best vision of how it should work. You need the two partners and the customer, the three groups, to come together and collaborate openly and transparently to get to reaching that stage.
Great point. Awesome. You all are clearly doing that in this existing partnership. So that's awesome. Very, very cool. All right. We have about 10 minutes left in our discussion. So if anyone listening today has questions, comments, if we've said something that you want to talk about further, please throw it in the chat. I'll be monitoring that as we go through a few last questions. But definitely, this is a great point to get any questions in to our panelists. Jarrod, I want to talk about franchising a little bit.
Okay.
And what is the franchising strategy with World Gym going forward? If someone wants to know more about your organization, where do they go? What do they do?
Yeah, you can go to worldgymfranchising.com, or you can just go to our regular website, worldgym.com. You can reach out to me personally, directly. At any point, we do, independent club conversions. We do franchise conversions. If your current franchise agreement is up right now and you don't feel as though that it's the right fit for you, we would certainly be willing to have that. Like I said earlier, we're a brand on the move, and we're one of the only brands that's been around this long. So we're kind of like one of the OGs, as they would say, a real authentic gym brand. And the gym is cool again. It's not something that's taboo. And we all know now that we need great places to work out now more than ever. And so we'd be love to have you guys as part of our World Gym family, and add you to it. We have a growth strategy in place. We're really excited about the plan that we have, and how many gyms we have coming on board. We've got quite a few in the pipeline right now, which we're excited about. Yeah, and looking forward to doing some great things. We have 100,000 square foot super club that's coming up in Texas City, which is really exciting. We've got a couple more in construction in Canada. Texas is really doing well. We've got some in Egypt, Australia. So if you want to be part of a growing organization, a forward-thinking organization, and a real family, let us know here at World Gym. We'd love to have you.
That's so awesome. Jarrod, we know World Gym has been around. How many years has World Gym been around?
45.
45 years. Okay.
Yep.
That's a very long time. So what, in your opinion, is your favorite change or evolution of the brand since when it started to where it is now?
They hired me, Sarah.
Oh,
No,
well,
I'm kidding. I'm just saying, I'm just joking. I'm kidding. I don't know. That's a great question. You may have stumped me there.
You can get back to us on that.
Well, I think one of the great things about it is just the history of it and where it came from. It's like there's a couple companies out there, right? If you know equipment, when you hear the word Nautilus, right? Everybody goes, oh, that's a Nautilus machine. Now it could be somebody else's brand. It could be Cybex, like whatever. But people, oh, that's a Nautilus machine, right? Because it was one of the original companies. It's like the same thing with a Xerox, and maybe I'm dating myself now, but like Xerox copy machines, Kleenex, whatever. And some of those original brands that people recognize, that World Gym, along with its original sister company, those brands, I mean, people look at that as the founding fathers of the real fitness age that we see today. And I love being a part of that rich history. I'm just excited about the opportunity to look at that rich history and legacy that we have and now propel that into the future. And so it's exciting to be, part of a team and an organization that's looking forward to doing another 45 years and really setting the trends for generations to come. And I think that that's probably an exciting thing that I will hang my hat on for now.
I think that's definitely an exciting thing. Part of history. I love it. Jarrod, a question has come in for you, and the question is from Mr. Sarah Pellegrino himself. What is Jarrod's communication strategy around the mask mandates in certain cities, states? I'll add countries into that.
I think we're out of time, Sarah. I think that we've run out of time. For the record, I just want to say, you asked me early on in this conversation about my history. Sal, who we all know, I knew Sal when I was about 18. He was one of the first vendor partners I ever met, to be honest with you. And it's an honor and a privilege to call him a great friend and colleague for all these years. So really nice to have him. As far as the mask mandates, listen, at the end of the day, we're about helping people stay healthy and fit, right? And it's hard with the changing circumstances, and it's difficult with, the way that the political situation, how it's all been. But human life is of utmost importance. So do what is in the best interests of your staff, your members, your business, and try to keep your personal and political views out of the decisions that you make. Because at the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about your people that are entrusted to you, both as employees and as members. And when you're in doubt, an organization like us, they can pick up the phone and call us and have a conversation with us. So the benefit of being part of a franchise organization is having people to talk to. And if you're on your own, find a consultant or find somebody to talk to if you want to run some things past it. But don't make emotional, personal decisions. Do what's in the best interest of your people. And that's different for everybody wherever you live. And so that would be my best advice in that particular regard.
That's great advice, Jarrod. And I'm going to add on, if you're, a solo club owner and you are not part of a franchise, lean on your local healthcare system too, right? They have a local interest in the health and wellness of your population, and they will absolutely guide you and give you the best advice at hand. So great answer, Jarrod. Thank you. Now, Jarrod, as you start planning for the year ahead, right? We're eyes on 2022. What are you most excited about?
Hopefully getting past COVID. I was saying earlier, I don't know if we're ever going to get past it, right? And I think that we are going to do our best as an industry to bounce back in a lot of different ways. But as an organization, World Gym's excited about the opportunity that lies ahead. I've been saying this since this whole thing started. With great challenges come great opportunities, and we're really at the brink of some great opportunities in our organization. And I'm excited about what lies ahead for our future growth and for the success of our existing franchisees who've been along for a ride for the last 40 years. Like I said, we've got some 30, 35 years in our organization, and they've been through a lot. And to hear them talk about how excited they are about the things that we're doing and the team we put together and the assets and the technology and support that we're providing, it excites me that we're on the right track. And that as we continue to move forward, great things are going to continue to happen for this brand. And we're gonna take our place, atop the mountain again, like we really deserve. So I am excited about the future. I'm excited about my partnerships. I'm excited to see what Nick and his team do after working with me for 6 months or so. Whether Nick's got gray hair like me or no hair at all by the time we're done will be something to tell. But yeah, that's what excites me the most. The future is bright despite the circumstances that surround it.
I love it. I love it. Nick, how about you, my friend? As you're looking at the 2022 roadmap, what are you most excited about for ASF and Club OS?
I'm really excited to see our customers come out of COVID and come out on the other side. We've put a lot of functionality in place to help target former members, win them back, really help with the upsell of the active and engaged members, and keep members retained. Seeing all that come for the last few months and now rolling it out to our customers, I'm really excited to see it come to fruition, the vision and how we've helped prepare our customers for coming back from COVID. So I'm really excited to see all that come together finally.
I love it. It's a great point. Absolutely. Jarrod, what is one piece of advice that you would give anyone starting a new role, a big role in a new company? What do? You
sit back and evaluate before you do anything, and you surround yourself with people smarter than you. Because at the end of the day, you can't make rash decisions. Yep. Don't go in thinking you know everything, and get a team of smart people that can help you do, what you need to do. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to observe and have a great team that's been able to observe along with me and tell me when I'm wrong or tell me when I'm crazy or tell me great ideas. I think sometimes people are afraid to hire people who are smarter or more experienced because they view them as a threat. I don't. I want a strong team around me, and I feel very privileged to have that. And I think that only makes me better. And it makes me want to be better for them and for my organization. So if I'm offering advice, sit back, evaluate, ask some great questions, and surround yourself with great people.
That's so perfect. Thank you, Jarrod. Absolutely. Great advice. Thank you so much. IRSA 2021. Will we see you there, Jarrod?
I will be there. And I look forward to meeting all of you. Feel free to hit me up, make an appointment, grab a beverage, walk the show floor, go harass Nick at his booth. I'll be there.
All right, Nick, how about you? Will we see the ASF and Club OS teams at IRSA 2021?
Yep, we will be there. We'll be at booth 2500. Nice, easy number to remember. Stop on by. We're going to be showcasing our analytics, point of sale, and PT follow-up functionality. And of course, you can maybe do a TikTok in front of our photo booth that we're going to have there.
Jarrod, boomerang lesson.
I am doing a TikTok. We should do that the thing with the questions.
Oh boy,
we can do all the.
So
Nick, we're going to do that. Nick, that's what we're going to do.
Let's do it. I don't know about that one specifically, but I'm sure we can find one that we can.
I don't know if that's Reels or TikTok, or they all get confused nowadays. But I've seen that one, and then we can do the Applebee's song. Whatever you want. Come to booth, we'll do it.
2500.
2500 at Party with Nick and Jarrod. There it is.
There are people booking flights right now.
Exactly.
I would hope so.
That's the way.
We will go viral.
That's it.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your insight today regarding technology strategy and what is to come for World Gym, ASF, and Club OS. I cannot wait to see what the future holds for all of you. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.